So, shortly before we were about to get started, we got news of a shooting in El Paso, Texas, at in a Walmart area. As of this recording, there are 20 dead and over 20 injured, if I'm not mistaken. And also, there was a shooting last week, since the last time we've been on, in Gilroy, California. But like I said, this just came across right when we were about to get started, and I just want to start with that. And also, first off, as always, and it also, it being first and foremost that our thoughts and prayers are with the people who are being affected by this shooting. And I say that with all sincerity and with all belief that it is very much important, regardless of the people who want to make it seem like that doesn't matter. I will always have my thoughts and always will pray for those people that have been affected, because this is a senseless tragedy that has happened, that has affected a number of families today. Something that they, or anyone that is part of some tragedy like this that comes out of the blue, had no idea when they woke up this morning that they would be a part of this. So yeah, so again, thoughts and prayers with the people who have been affected. And also, with saying that, I've mentioned before, when we talk about whenever these shootings go on, well, for one, the shooter or shooters are really, for the most part, irrelevant, to the point. I mean, just they're out there using whatever means, and basically are cowards in a way. And definitely, I'm not going to mention their names, even if I knew their name. I don't really have all the information, but even if I did, I really wouldn't care to give them that, whatever that will be on this podcast. But still, it's not even about them. It's more so about the victims, and remembering them, and also whoever else who were helping back in that tragic time. So with that, though, I know we hate to say that, okay, when something like this happens, it's let's not politicize it. Well, that's not the reality, just not. So to keep saying that is just basically you're just gonna be, I guess you could say, left behind in a way. But it's going to get politicized, especially right now, because with got the Democrat, debates going on, and all those candidates, they definitely want to make a political issue out of it. And I would just say, like I've mentioned before, when we talk about these shootings, that we should stay vigilant. And as much as we are showing our compassion for the victims that are affected, we should also stay vigilant and not let the politicians or any of these organizations that are going to want to use this to politicize it, to take more freedom away, and specifically trying to target the Second Amendment. As of right now, I'm already seeing, like on Twitter at least, the Second Amendment is trending along with gun control. Now it's trending, and it's trending higher than the Second Amendment. So, and also I see on there, do something, which is always something that tends to come up whenever a tragedy hits. Just do something. And that's not always the best route, especially when everyone is caught up so in their emotions of what has just happened. So I would just say, let's, stay vigilant. Let's be compassionate. Let's also, because we know a lot of people are going to be coming at us, especially people who are advocates for the Second Amendment. Just, be as calm as possible, and don't get into the emotional game. I mean, it's understandable that people will be emotional, but don't let that, have you to say something or do something that you will regret later on. Just stick to the facts, and also just stick with the fact of knowing that that having our freedoms, not only just the Second Amendment, but that's just what we're talking about now, but the First Amendment and all other freedoms that we have, we can't let the moment be used to take away our freedoms. So we should be vigilant of that, at especially right now. So a little bit of a different, I guess, beginning to this because of I guess you could say breaking news, but from here on out, I guess we'll move on with the show. We're here at the Young Women's Leadership Summit, and so before we get into everything about expression, I guess what's the atmosphere and how everything's going on here?
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. It's like, I don't know, it's like CPAC, but specifically tailored to women. It just, everything's pink, it's fun, people are loud and excited, and just the energy is just, we're taking back feminism.
From the highways of America, here's the podcast where we talk politics, a little entertainment, some culture, and this and that, from the road to your ears. This is Trend Chat with your host, Brian Bledsoe.
And welcome to another episode of Trend Chat. I am your host, Brian Bledsoe, and if you want to connect with us, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Snapchat. It's all the same name, at Trend Chat 24/7. Here in the illustrious studios of Chicago, Illinois. Again, I think the last episode was in Chicago, but we haven't been here the whole time. We've gone here and there, been back down to Texas and back up, and so now we're back here in Chicago again. I guess kind of a little bit different as far as because of, like I mentioned before, in the breaking news and everything. But yeah, if this is your first time, I know there have been a number of new listeners in the past couple of weeks. I guess the last week since being on Chat Prather Show with a number of people are just now finding out about Trend Chat, so welcome. And again, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, it's all the same name, at Trend Chat 24/7 should get you there. And you can listen on trendchat247.com. We're available on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other popular podcast outlets. So we suggest to like, share, and subscribe. 5-star ratings. It's kind of funny because I looked at the Apple Podcast page for Trend Chat, and I saw. Now look, this is Trend Chat. This is my podcast, so I'm not able to see all the pages that Trend Chat is on because I really don't know where all the places that it's being distributed. But I did look at Apple, and I noticed that I had 5-star. Like, it was 5.5, not 5. Once said 5.5, 5.0, but it was 5 stars. Like, I got, like, they're all been 5 stars, and I appreciate that. I appreciate everyone who is giving 5 stars, and I would ask for more, because as of right now, there are only 10. And there are 10, but they're all 5 stars, so I appreciate that. But we'd like to get that up to at least 11. but yeah, definitely more than 11, but one more after this, after making this plea to whoever listening right now to give us 5 stars and Also, message us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at TrendChat247. Tell us what you think about the show. And so we're going to have, well, you already heard frequent guest Laci Williams. That was a clip that we actually has played before during the Young Women's Leadership Summit episode. And so we just played that over again. But we're going to have a longer interview with Laci. It's actually our first time meeting face to face for this interview. Was in Dallas a couple of months ago. And so we're going to play that. But we're also going to have an interview with Blaze TV political commentator Sara Gonzales. And trust me, I'm going to say that a lot better during the interview than I just, kind of fumbled that just then. But we're going to have that as well. We're going to talk about basically being on Blaze TV and being on the news and why it matters, and also being a karaoke expert. So we're going to talk about that as well. But first, we're going to get into a couple of what has been going on. Not a lot, two things in particular. One in particular that I'm thinking about is the whole thing that went on with Mario Lopez, or AC Slater, as I know him as, because I watched Saved by the Bell. So, he did a podcast with Candace Owens a couple months ago in June. At least that's when it came out in June, where the controversy of it all came from a statement that he made, just going against the idea that 3-year-olds should be able to choose their gender. Now, that seems very much common sense to me, but given we're in this climate right now where anybody, anyone could choose their gender, so I'm guessing at this point, a 2-year-old could choose their gender by crawling to the pink or the blue or the whatever color. They can do that now, I guess. I don't know, but that's where we're going, because he made that statement. And it's funny because, like I said, this came out in June. The podcast was premiered, and it'd been out there for a while, but I guess someone just got hold of it recently. And I guess when they heard that, they were triggered beyond belief. And then they, whenever something like this happens, then all the social justice warriors come out and wanting to, counsel Mario Lopez, and they want to go after whoever his sponsors are, or whatever show he's on. They go on their social media and say that they should be fired and whatnot. It happens all the time. And we didn't even post about what Mario Lopez said at first, because I did see, so for one, he went on the Candace Owens show. So people saying, like, good on someone, in Hollywood to even come on the show, because that's something you don't see every day either. And when all of this controversy was swirling around him, I didn't even mention anything about it, because I knew that he was going to apologize, and it wasn't going to be long. So I didn't even say anything about it, because I knew the apology would come, because I know a lot of times when all of a sudden someone like him would, a celebrity or someone in the entertainment media, once they get barraged with all this negative, tweets and, I don't know, maybe threats, for saying something that is, you would say, conservative leaning, at least, or something that goes against the liberal agenda. Let's put it that way. Anything that goes against it, whether it's being against socialism, or whether it's being for the Second Amendment, or whether it's being against illegal immigration, or anything like that. Anything that the progressives and liberals, the quote unquote progressives and liberals, champion so much as far as wanting open borders and basically, taxing the rich and taking everyone's money and basically having the government take over every facet of our lives. If anything that goes against that, and killing babies, they definitely love killing babies. So anything that goes against that, they want to basically counsel you. So anyway, when that was going on, I was like, yeah, he's going to apologize, and it's not going to take too long. And it was about 24 hours, if not less than that. He apologized for insensitive comments and everything, which I was wondering. Well, for one, so he apologized. I wasn't surprised by that, but I was wondering, what did he think was going to happen by going on the show in the first place? Now, mind you, a couple of months had passed, so maybe he probably thought that he got on there and nothing really came of it, so he probably thought he was good. But still, if it wasn't this, it would have been something else. Just the simple fact of being on her show, I'm surprised that that it took this long. They could have used anything, so I don't know what the benefit for him, what he thought the benefit was to go on the show in the first place, especially if he was planning on staying, doing the things that he, as far as being a host on Extra and doing all these, I guess, hosting gigs in Hollywood and all that. If he wanted to continue doing all of that, why would you go on there? Because good and well, once you go on that show, this is going to happen. And so unless you were tired of it, unless you're just going to say, you know what, I don't care what happens. I'm going to go on and make my opinion known, and I'm just going to let the chips fall where they may. Unless he's at that point, okay, good on you. But normally that doesn't happen to people I would say he's in his prime, I guess, of his career. He definitely he's not at the end. I don't guess he is, unless he's just tired and want to retire early or something. But because normally, which is unfortunate, but normally whenever someone comes out as whether as a conservative or even just someone that is that questions the liberal talking points or someone that just doesn't go along with the quote unquote progressive agenda, normally those people or just come out to being, or come out to being a Christian or whatever like that, or something like that. Those people tend to be at the tail end of their career, which is unfortunate because they have lost a lot of their influence that they had during their prime. And they kind of, in my opinion, I feel like they just kind of want to make sure they make all the money that they can, which, okay, you want to make money, but you decided not to use your influence when you really could have used it at a more poignant time in your career. You waited until you got to the end. And after you made all your money, now you like, oh, well, I'm out the door anyway. So let me just go ahead and just say how I really feel now. It's almost kind of same as far as, which is not so much now, but as far as, people who were, in the closet, people, that were gay. And then it used to be where they would wait till at the end of their career to come out, or if they were playing sports or whatever, they'll wait till after they retire and then come out. But that's not the case so much now. Because homosexuality has become so accepted to the point to where people feel a lot more comfortable coming out in the middle of their career as opposed to waiting to the end. But like I said, Mario Lopez wasn't at that point, so I don't know what he was thinking was going to come of this. But yeah, so he has went on and apologized, and which, for I don't know, for what it's worth, I can't see he's going to be totally scot-free off from this, because, and to think about it, for someone like himself, as far as, because a lot of times if you don't know about Extra, it's, kind of like I guess you could say it's a gossip show where they do a bunch of celebrity interviews about the latest in entertainment and movie, talk about when the latest movie coming up, they talk with some of the cast members and all, stuff like that. And so if he's doing something where he's going to be talking to all these people in Hollywood and all these celebrities, which are, at least the most vocal ones, are so left leaning and so dogmatic and passionate and viciously passionate about their liberal ideals, and to the point, and also they viciously hate the other side, or at least they voice it, kind of like John Legend, where he went on a profanity-laced tirade about Trump, something like that, where they talk about Republicans in that way. If you're in that crowd and working in that crowd, I can't imagine if they know that you have been on someone they consider an enemy like Candace Owens, or as far as the show that the PragerU, the organization that was hosting the podcast, if they catch wind of that, I can see a number of them telling, I think it's NBC for Extra. I can see plenty of them saying, I don't want the Mario Lopez interviewing me because he's a Nazi, basically. I mean, just because of being on the show and they feel about about Republicans, and how dare you even go on that show? How dare you even talk to that woman? So I can see that very easily, where they would just they'll tell Extra, well, I don't want him interviewing me because, and they'll just make up some reason why, or maybe they just outright just say because we don't agree with his politics. And so, yeah, all of that together, and he's in this. So of course, I mean, I guess if he wants to keep that job, he's going to have to apologize. And even, like I said, even if that he apologized, I don't think that's going to be enough. This is going to stay with him. I could see, even after he has, basically flogged himself and has bowed to all the people they need to so he can keep his job or whatever, he's going to be asked about this probably for the rest of his life, or at least a good couple of years. Every time he interviews someone, they're going to be asking about his comments, or then just because he was on that show, they're going to try to dig into more of his personal beliefs. Like, well, if you went on that show, what do you think about this and this? And I mean, they'd be listening real closely, they want to make sure that he's, back in line, or that he, is for real as far as, is he on their side? Is he down for the cause? Something like that. So, but yeah, I really didn't expect to go on that long about that, but it's something I wasn't surprised about. So anyway, we're gonna get to our interview with Laci next. But before, let's hear a word from my friends with the Founding Project.
Hello, Trend Chat listeners. If you like the Founding Project's Civics Education video series, Civics for All Ages, and our educational meme series, we think you will love our new website. Join us at thefoundingproject.com and be a part of the civics movement. The Founding Project is a 501c3 education nonprofit. Please join us today.
This is Sara Gonzales, and you are listening to Trend Chat.
Hello, this is Trend Chat, and we are very pleased to have a returning guest. Actually, this is the first time meeting face to face, but she has been on numerous times, and actually, I think she's been on
the most of anyone. Who I'm talking about? I am talking about Laci Williams. She is the founder, editor-in-chief of Expressions Magazine. How you doing?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
So, we've had, like I said, we've had you on a number of times, and mainly we talk about Expressions. And so, first, let everyone know what's the latest issue.
All right, so our latest issue is going to be issue 4. Marissa Streit is on the cover. She's the CEO of Prager University. We just kind of sat down and talked with her about kind of the course of her life and how she helped start the 5-minute videos for Prager University. A lot of people know Dennis Prager, and they know him as the radio talk show host, especially some of the older generation knows, or people that are very involved in the conservative movement, but they really don't know how Prager University came about. So we kind of tell that story and really get involved in that. We also have kind of talked about, what it's like being a girl boss, and she doesn't really like the terminology because why would you say, man boss? You can just say boss. It's all about being a boss and, organizing your time. She's a mother, so she knows how that is, and I think she's a really inspiring and relatable person.
So, given that with the 4th issue, that basically means that, given that it's a quarterly issue, that means it's been a year. So, I guess let us know what's been the ups and downs of the past, the first year of Expressions.
A lot of the ups, obviously, like Nikki Haley being in contact with us. My favorite thing is doing interviews with cover stars. There's a lot of humility within this whole movement. They're real people that believe in real things, and it's been a lot of fun doing a lot of the interviews for that. A lot of the downs, things like sponsorship. It's hard. You know how it is getting money for, a lot of magazines make their money in ad revenue. We reached out to all the big ad agencies and things like that early. And, Maybelline, I'm looking at Makeup for America over here, and they're kind of the rival, and they're, American-made makeup company that stands for conservative values, and I love them. But then you have people like Maybelline, on the other hand, we email them, and we're donating all of our money to humanitarian causes, which is upsetting when the next day I see a giant billboard for Maybelline. They have, I think it's this new foundation. It's either Maybelline or CoverGirl, one of the two. Don't quote me on it, but they have this foundation. It's new, and it's for all different skin colors. And of course, they're like, we're representative of all. I didn't see a blonde girl there. I was not represented. Excuse me. So it should not be about what you look like on the outside, but that's all makeup caters to. And it's sad that they can't even appreciate diversity of thought anymore than magazines. So.
Yeah, I know. With the prior 4 issues and having everyone on. I mean, I know we spoke with Antonio Okafor. We've had her on a number of times, and Kendall Jones, Marissa Streit, and numerous people. And with the latest issue, so I guess also go a little bit more as far as what's in the issue, as far as what other articles you have in there.
So it's our summer issue. So we really tried to focus on, things that girls are doing over the summer. So traveling is a huge one for girls, especially right out of college, or people that are, coming out of college forever, I guess. High school girls, every woman can kind of relate to, what are you packing in your suitcase? What does that look like if, you don't have a lot of cash to check a bag? How are you going to maximize your suitcase and carry it on? That was really fun. We did a traveling story on Israel. One of our contributors, Mallory Finch, did that. She kind of talks about how she connected to Christianity right before she came. Again, there's just so many fun articles. There's not a ton of fashion in this issue. We did kind of focus more on the lifestyle stuff because oftentimes, we are political lifestyle. We do focus on that. And our next issue will be more focused on politics. But we just kind of focus on, just fun stuff. French beauty and what that looks like for girls and, minimalistic makeup and just so many different fun things. Fleck is actually our man of the moment for this issue, and he was so fun to interview. Every answer is, yeah, very cool, and that's like his catchphrase, so I had a good time with that.
Now, for someone like myself that's been following you on social media, whether Snapchat or across, also saw that you were interning at I forgot who now, actually, but I know you was interning at the Capitol, state capitol. So tell us a little bit about that.
So I interned for Rod Bockenfeld for House District 56. Rod is amazing. Freshman legislator comes in, he just has a passion for it. You can tell he hasn't been taken over by any ideology. He just wants to do what's right for America and for Colorado, and I think that's so important. He's so humble, and I don't know, he's been kind of just like he sees the potential in people, and I think he's seen the potential in me, so we've become really good friends. But I do know for a fact now, I want to wait until I'm older to, you know, run for political office. I think that takes a little bit of time. You kind of got to work in activism, maybe become a lawyer, you know, build your resume, because you can't just walk in like AOC 29, bartender. I'm sorry, but the respect is not going to be there. And I mean, I have friends that work in Washington, and they say, you know, Nancy doesn't respect AOC, and that's part of the reason why. She hasn't built up her resume, she hasn't been there, and she really doesn't know what she's talking about, and I don't want to be like that girl.
Now, with your time as before doing the internship, did it, I guess, make you want to go further as far as political career, or as far as, or maybe did it change, or how did it influence you?
I learned a lot for sure. I learned how, you know, bills are passed, the cycle that they go through. I think that was really needed. I learned a lot, and I needed to do it in order to understand it better. I don't know if I would go back and do it. If I'm going to do anything and run for any office, it's going to be nationally for the federal government. I don't know what that's going to look like, though. I want to be older. I do know that. It's fun, but I love activism so much, and I love writing, and I love speaking, and that's just more fun for me. I've always enjoyed that more. I know I don't want to be a lawyer. You know, litigation seems fun for some people, but it's expensive to go to law school, and I don't have that kind of money lying around just to be like, I kind of sort of like it. So, you know.
Just wait. Expressions are going to, they're going to blow up. You're going to have that money then.
Oh, yeah, exactly, right? You know, it takes time. My mom, I was talking to her yesterday, and I was feeling a bit discouraged, you know, because it seems like everybody's blown up real big, and it takes them like 2 seconds, and they have all these social media followers, and I'm like, and she goes, Laci, Rome wasn't built in the day, you know, but it was known as like this great civilization that even people now are looking at for, you know, a higher power or, you know, inspiration. So that really helped. My mom's a big supporter, and I'm really lucky to have a strong woman in my life like that.
Yeah, so I guess, for one, we're happy to finally meet in person and to finally get a chance to have a face-to-face interview. So I appreciate everything you're doing, and if people want to know more about, you know, expressions, obviously, if you've been listening to the podcast, they know, but tell them again. All
right, you can go to www.express-conservatism.com. That's our website, and there's links to all of our social on there. You can shop around for the latest issue, and you can also get an online version on there as well. So check it out.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
What's going on, folks? This is Colin Noir, and you're listening to Trend Chat.
All right, and thanks to Laci for joining us. And like I said, it was great to finally meet her in person. So, and saying that we are planning something else for her, I guess her next appearance actually. So I'll have to give more details later when it get close to the time. But we're gonna have Sara Gonzales up next, but I promise you this is not gonna be nearly as long, mainly because I don't have too much else to say about it, given what it's almost an old story almost. But the whole thing that's going on in Baltimore, because the president tweeted something about Baltimore, which got everyone upset because he mentioned that it was rat infested, and given that it's Elijah Cummings' district and all that drama that came along with it, and it's funny because by doing that, now I would say out of spite, people are going to Baltimore to help, to do something about all the things that the president brought up. They weren't thinking about any of that until he tweeted about it. And they may be doing it for they may be doing a good thing, and they could be doing it, with the right intentions. But I would suspect some of this, if not a lot of it, is out of spite of President Trump, where they're like, "Oh, we'll show him." It's not ratifested. It's maybe not as much now because you came out and naturally did something, which you could have done. You could have did this without him tweeting about it, and But nevertheless, if people are going out to clean up in the Baltimore area, that's great. I'm glad you're doing it. Could have already done it, but hey, you're doing it now. So hey, go ahead. Now, one thing for me personally, so in talking about Baltimore in particular, and not only with talking about the rats and I guess and the crime and all that, I know as a truck driver, whenever I have to go to DC, I have to, the truck. There's barely any truck parking in the Washington DC area. If there is someone let me know. If you're listening to this and you know of an area where trucks can park safely, don't have me parking on the side of the road somewhere or in some, on the side of, in the street somewhere in somebody's neighborhood. I'm talking about kind of like, almost a truck stop parking area. If you know of one, I'm just putting it out there in case someone listening that maybe know of a place. There was a place in Alexandria that I used to park at, but I think they stopped, or you have to get a monthly pass. Anyway, I digress. But when I go to DC, except for when I went to the inauguration, I had to park in Baltimore and then catch an Uber all the way down to Washington to go to the inauguration. And so that's what I have to do now. And I don't like parking in Baltimore. I don't like stopping in Baltimore myself. The two truck stops, the two major truck stops in Baltimore, at least that I know of off the top of my head. There's one on the north side, the one on the south side. Now, normally, if you're going to go to Washington, you need to try to park at the one on the south side so you don't have that long of a trip from Baltimore to Washington. And it's not a nice neighborhood. It's not a nice area. Matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, one of the truck stops, I don't know which one. I don't know if the one on the north side or south side, but one of them is basically across the street from a prison. The truck stop, I'm saying. And, the area around there and not only just Baltimore, as a truck driver, I drive all over. So I drive all 48 states and in suburbs, downtown cities, New York, Chicago, you name it. Like I said, I'm here in Chicago now, and I've delivered in, straight downtown Chicago and downtown LA or whatever like that. And so, and one thing, most of these inner cities are controlled by Democrats, and there are a few places that I know that I don't want to spend more time than I have to. Put it that way. If I got to deliver there, I'm going to deliver. I'm just going to, try to get there and keep my doors locked and keep everything protected. I'll just stay protected. I'll just say that. And so off the top of my head right now, well, one, I don't care to go to Baltimore, but that's not like on the top three. The first place I could think of is there's a place in downtown St. Louis, which is a place which I definitely wouldn't want to stop and wouldn't want to stay at night. I was there one time before, and yeah, it wasn't very pleasant. There, I was in downtown New York, I think Brooklyn area, at night, which I had to stay overnight, and that was something I'll never forget. I mean, that's a longer story behind that, but I to keep it short, basically I didn't get any sleep because there were crackheads smoking crack right next to my truck. So, yeah, long story short, that I couldn't sleep because of that. I mean, got crackheads literally sitting on your truck. But, and I wasn't about to get out. Anyway, I'm not finna get into that story. But, so like there, and so, yeah, downtown Atlanta is not a great place in some places, as well. So, but yeah, I understand that's kind of like something I mentioned on that, on Chad Prather show. There's some places I don't want to go. I don't want to stick around in some areas, and just because, like, is some places where it's an urban area, and they will think like, oh well, just because you're black, you want to stay there. No, I don't want to be there either. And a lot of people that live in those areas don't want to be there either because of the crime and what goes on. Unfortunately, the people in the area tend to overwhelmingly keep voting for the same people to basically enable this whole this thought about, I don't know, not basically doing anything about crime. And the thing about it, if someone doing the thing about crime, then it's called racist. So yeah, it's just a never ending cycle. Anyway, so just wanted to mention that, and also just first off want to thank 1776united.com. Thank you everyone that's been getting the shirts and the mugs, the Betsy Ross flag, and Don't Tread on Me snapback, and the shirts and the mugs and everything, all the the patriotic 2A gear you can find is at 1776united.com. And if you go there and put in the code 76 militia -trend chat, you can get 20% off on your order. So I really appreciate 1776 for being a partner and supporting the podcast. We really appreciate that. And so we're going to get to our interview with Sara Gonzales. But before that, let's hear a word from Politichicks. Hello, this is Brian Bledsoe, host of Trend Chat, also contributor at Politichicks.com. Here to tell you about the new book called Politichicks, A Clarion Call to Political Activism, with over 300 pages from contributors like myself, talking about topics such as education, social issues, healthcare, the Second Amendment, and of course, activism. I encourage you all to check it out at Politichicks.com, and is also available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble.
Hey everybody, it is Chad Prather, host of the Chad Prather Show. You are listening to Trend Chat with my man, Brian Bledsoe. Come on with it.
Hello, this is Trend Chat, and we are very pleased to have, and I said very pleased because we've been trying to get an interview with her for a while. And so, yes, we're very pleased to have Sara Gonzales with us. She is a Blaze TV host and political commentator, and most importantly, karaoke expert. How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you for recognizing my most important title of all. I appreciate that.
Oh, we're going to get to that. So, but first off, with Blaze TV, most people, right now would know that you're on the news and why it matters. Me personally, I remember you from being on For What It's Worth. That's why. And so, being on the news, how has that been? I mean, a lot of times you have Glenn Beck is a part of the panel, but I know a lot of times it varies from host to host. And so how's that all this?
It's good. It's a really interesting experience. If anyone would have told me 5 years ago that I would be working on a daily, political news show, I would have said, you've got to be kidding me, because, way back when I was, a normal working insurance agent who was just kind of minding my own business and just blogging about politics on the side. So it's been a very interesting change of events and kind of a whirlwind that, now I live in the political sphere and have a daily news show where, I work alongside Glenn Beck, who has been my mentor. I call him my TV dad, but it's great. It's great. It keeps me busy, and I truly love going to work every day. I love my job. I love the impact that we're making in the conservative movement. And I could not feel more blessed to do what I do.
So in the past, I guess a couple of years, that will go into being a political commentator. So I noticed one thing that you kind of starting up is called Unfiltered and other things as well. And so with I guess kind of like with Unfiltered, you just kind of just maybe finding the news of the day and then kind of giving your opinions on it. So right?
Yes, yeah. So yeah, with the news and why it matters, it's more of a news of the day, and Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, I'm trying to focus more on the really hard hitting things, like for instance Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. She's saying dumb things in the news every single day. There's always something there that we can make a video out, but I try to do it in a way that it's not preaching to anyone. It's not angry. It's not critical. It's just I tried to make Unfiltered a digestible, consumable, funny, lighthearted piece, even when there's something, the topic might not be lighthearted. But I feel like in order to get a message across to people, sometimes you can't preach to them. Sometimes you can't just be angry. Sometimes you just have to present it in a way that is digestible for them, and maybe you'll make a difference.
And so we're here at the Young Women's Leadership Summit, and I found out, surprisingly, you're not speaking or anything, you're just attending, but how's the atmosphere been? I mean, what you take from the event so far?
Yes, yeah, and I have a lot of good friends who, are in attendance and who are, speaking and whatnot, and there's nothing more encouraging than seeing a bunch of young women getting together and, standing up for conservative values and, saying we are going to be the generation that we're going to change things. We're not going to settle for, saying that we should be able to abort our babies all the way up until the moment before birth. We're not going to settle for, people calling us racist because we want the border secure. We're not going to settle for that. And it's just so inspiring and encouraging to see all of these young women in attendance just passionate about keeping the conservative movement alive and, about making sure that their voices are heard and not drowned out by the mainstream media.
So I guess what advice would you give a lot of these young women that are here as far as, I guess, the next step after coming to an event like this?
Persevere. I know that a lot of us, myself included, we live in a time where we have instant gratification, and we're so used to getting things immediately when we want them. I've got my phone, I can pick it up, and I can check my email, and I can, go on Twitter, and I can click for the news of the day. Everything is available at a click, and I think that we become so used to just having that instant gratification that we forget that the things that are worth the most are usually going to be hard work. It's going to be hard work to get whatever it is that, our goals are. But we've got to remember to persevere, and, the best things in life are certainly not free, and they come with a lot of work and, a lot of experience, and just don't give up. Just keep pushing.
We're going to get to the more fun part because we're going to talk about karaoke. So, for one thing, what is a karaoke expert? I'm just going by your bio. So.
Yes, yeah, karaoke expert / legend. I
didn't see the legend part, but okay.
Okay, so you may not know, but you know now that I am also a karaoke legend. I used to sing in high school. It was kind of the my thing, and I almost went to school for commercial music, but I chose not to at the last minute. And so music has always been something that has been very near and dear to my heart, and I got to the point where I was working professionally. I was doing so many other things that did not include music that I would need to go out and attend a random karaoke night or whatever just to get that out of my system, because it's just so ingrained in me that I want to perform. I want to perform music, and so that was the way that I did that. So I go out and do karaoke as often as I can. Some may say that I'm an expert. That's some meaning me, but it's fun. It's fun. It keeps me, it scratches the itch that I have to do music every now and then.
So what is your go-to song? I mean, I'm guessing everyone has that one song. Like, okay, I can kill this one.
That would be Last Name by Carrie Underwood. I also have been known to bust out Love on the Brain by Rihanna. But you got to pick the right crowd with that one, because that one's got some expletives that you got to know your audience and make sure that they're not going to have a problem with it. But yeah, Carrie Underwood is usually my go-to.
All right. So what if people want to contact you or find you on social media, where would it go?
You can go to Sara Gonzales TX, and that's Sara with no H, Gonzales with an S at the end, TX. I am there all over social media. You can find me same handle on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and then YouTube, it's Sara Gonzales Unfiltered, and you can subscribe so that you don't miss any of my lighthearted rants.
Well, what if people want to see you at karaoke night or somewhere?
Well, then, they can follow my Instagram story and see which dive bar I'm at doing that.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hey guys, this is John Miller with Blaze TV. You are listening to Trend Chat with Brian Bledsoe.
All right, and thanks to Sara for joining us. And if you didn't notice, that was at the Young Women's Leadership Summit where we did the interview. And so, again, just thanks to Sara for joining us. And so we are here at the end here, and it's kind of funny because I'm saying it like this because if you don't know. We have the capability to go longer, and we have, because normally we have 45 minutes, and and we're cut off in 45 minutes. So no matter how much I want to keep talking, it'll cut off at 45 minutes, and I'll just be and the mic's cut off and everything. So, but now we're able to go as long, well, not as long as we want. We can go as far as 3 hours, but as I've said when I first announced this, we're never going to go 3 hours unless we're doing some sort of live stream at an event somewhere. Maybe we'll do it then, but yeah, so we're not going to be doing that right now. But it's just funny now to see that we've just went a little bit over 45 minutes, and now here we are, kind of having to just shut up and end the show as opposed to reaching 45 minutes and cutting off. But that being said, I appreciate everyone listening. TrendChat247.com, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat at TrendChat247, Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the major podcast outlets. Like, share, subscribe, 5-star reviews. I appreciate it. Again, everyone listening. And next week, we will have Jessica Anderson with us, the Vice President of Heritage Action for America. And we'll talk about, a number of things. And, till next week, we'll chat with you later.